Okay, we'll call the Stark County Planning and Zoning Commission meeting to order. It's June 26, 2025. It's 3 p.m. Show the record show we have two members that are absent. It's Kurt Freilich and Joe Riddle. First of all, we have the minutes from our May 29, 2025 meeting. Is there any corrections to the meeting minutes? If not, I'll look for a motion to approve.
Mr. President, I move to approve the minutes of the May 29th, 2025 meeting.
Okay,
I would offer a second.
okay, a motion and a second. All in favor, state aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion carried.
Chairman Franchuk, before
Yes.
you go on, Steve Josephson, County Planner. Good afternoon, Commissioners. Thanks for coming. There is an item number 5 on here that had been tabled from previous meetings, and that was to consider the revocation of a conditional use permit for, for a reception hall, banquet hall, contingent of, the reason why was because these folks started operation without a certificate of occupancy. I believe I emailed the certificate of occupancy to everybody on the P and Z, so they've met that requirement. So I'm just asking that item be struck from today's agenda.
Okay. With that, then, I look for a motion to approve the agenda then.
Mr. Chairman, I would move that we approve the agenda with that change.
Okay, I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
I have a second. All in favor, state aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion carried. And we'll go into our first item on our agenda then is the public hearing for RZ 0425 for Central Dakota Frontier Cooperative is requesting a amendment to the zoning conditions of approval for a 14.99 acre property located at 3549 121st Avenue Southwest and legally described as a tract in the southeast quarter, the northeast quarter of section 35, township 140 north, range 98 west in Stark County, North Dakota. The property is zoned commercial. Is there a representative here for the? You step up to the mic and state your name then and just state what you're requesting here.
I'm Toby Nagel. I'm with Central Dakota Frontier Cooperative. Just requesting to add a standalone fuel filling site on our agronomy site out in South Hart or north of the South Hart exit off the interstate. It would just be unmanned for credit card use only.
Okay,
No like store or anything like that, but
okay. Commission have any questions or?
This is limited to diesel only?
yes, ma'am. It'll be dyed diesel and clear diesel. We would use it ourselves for our equipment there. Also, a lot of trucks coming in delivering products for us. And actually, the whole project actually got brought up by patrons of ours that requested us to do it because there's no place easy in that area to fill diesel. We also had something similar like this in Hettinger, North Dakota, one of our sites down there. In 2016, we built one for them also for the same kind of situation. And it's been pretty good so far. So.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, any other questions? If not, then I'll open the public hearing and then anybody have any comment for or against his request? Anybody from the public have any comment for or against this request? Anybody from the public have any comment for this request? Hearing none, I'll close the public hearing. Mr. Joseph, your recommendations on this?
Yes, thank you, Chairman Franchuk, Commissioner Steve Josephson, County Planner. Let me explain the situation. Was when this group came in back in 2016 and wanted to put the agronomy center there, they had applied for a commercial zoning, strict commercial zoning district. There were concerns both among neighbors and members of the Planning and Zoning Commission about the potential impacts that something like that could have. So when this was adopted by the county commission, there were a number of conditions that were associated with it. Next slide, please. There were a number of conditions that were associated with it that limited the kinds of uses and the location of those uses on there. When I spoke to Mr. Nagel and looked at the conditions, well, this isn't something that was either on the original site plan or part of the condition. So that's why this is here in front of you today. If you approve, this is a recommendation for the county commission to amend these conditions to allow for this fueling station. Also, they have submitted revised site plan that shows the circulation on that site. One of the things I'm also proposing too is, one of the original conditions was that the zoning would be revoked if it would revert back to agriculture if they had not developed within 2 years. Well, obviously it's developed, so there's no reason. Staff is of the opinion that there's no reason to have that condition in there. So staff recommends approval subject to the findings in staff report, and I'm here to answer any questions you may have.
Okay, any questions for Mr. Josephson? Okay, if there's no questions, I'll look for a motion then to approve or deny.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to approve based on staff recommendation.
Okay, I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second. Any other discussion? If not, then roll call vote. Commissioner White,
Aye.
Commissioner Claris,
Aye.
Commissioner Larson,
Aye.
Commissioner Nicholas,
Aye.
Commissioner Goldsmith,
Aye.
Dr. Baird,
Aye.
and the chair votes aye. Motion carried. Okay, this will go before our meeting on July 1st next week, Tuesday morning, for the final approval of the commission then, so.
Okay, thank you.
You're okay. Okay, next item on our agenda is a public hearing for RZ 0525 for David and Nyla, is it Nyla? Okay. Michael, okay, I'm sorry. Michael requesting a rezoning for rural residential to estate residential for approximately 67.71 acre property located in the northeast quarter of Section 1, Township 139 North, Range 95 West, in the southeast quarter of Section 36, Township 140 North, Range 95 West, in Stark County, North Dakota. Is there someone representing you then, or?
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Andrew Schrank with Highlands Engineering, representing the applicants and the owners of this property. As stated, this is a rezone request from rural residential to estate residential, which will allow for the following application, which is a subdivision plat for Michael's subdivision. It'll be a residential subdivision that they're proposing of 29 lots. Just the northern portion of this property is requested to be changed. In that area, they have lots proposed anywhere from 2 to 7 acres, with all but one of those being less than 5 acres. So to allow that higher density of the 2-acre lots, we need to get to the estate residential zoning district. This is right along Highway 10. There is adjacent residential development kind of northwest of here along Highway 10 as well. So we do feel that this fits what's already been occurring in that area. And yeah, it's the kind of black box you see on the TV right now is the area that we're going to the estate residential with. So with that, I would be happy to address any questions you may have.
Any questions for Mr. Schrank?
Yeah, on this map, the orange is the area we're requesting the estate residential. You can see what will be the next application, the proposed lot lines laid underneath of this. The red area will remain rural residential. That's already zoned rural residential. But this shows kind of the subdivision configuration that we'll be seeing next.
Okay, is there any questions from the board?
Thank you.
Okay, if there's no questions, then I'm going to open the public hearing. Is there anybody who wants to speak for or against this request? Anybody from the public have any comment for or against this request? Anybody from the public have any comment for or against this request? Hearing none, then I'll close the public hearing. Mr. Josephson, your recommendations.
Yes, thank you, Chairman Franchuk. Commissioner Steve Josephson, County Planner. as the applicant's representative stated, this is a request to rezone approximately 67.71 acres of this property back in 2022. For those of you who were on the Planning and Zoning Commission back then, the previous owners had come in with the idea to subdivide this lot, and they had requested rezoning to rural residential, which is which is 5 acres. Since that time, there have been some changes. The county adopted a new comprehensive plan that puts this in the land use category of residential rural, which actually recommends minimum lot size of no larger than 2 acres. So it's consistent with that. And then there's also a priority growth area, and this property fits within that priority growth area. And those are the areas that we're concentrated to try and keep, the smaller lots within the county, develop those areas, those areas out. There is also, as the applicant's representative mentioned, there is a preliminary subdivision plat that's going to be scheduled for public hearing at this meeting. Staff recommends approval subject to the findings in the staff report. The one thing that I would note is there are 2 other, besides that preliminary subdivision plat, there's also a proposed vacation of a section line road. Those go to the county commission for approval, and my recommendation was that this rezoning, the final plat, and that vacation all go to the same county commission meeting. So we're not sure when that's going to be. So if y'all recommend approval for this, it'll be going to a later county commission meeting. It won't be going next week. So just wanted to put that on the record. And I'm here to answer any questions you may have.
Any questions for Mr. Josephson? If there's no questions, then I'll look for a motion to approve or deny.
Mr. Chairman, I do have a question maybe to be addressed by Todd, if you would come forward. I noticed that Lot 2 in Block 1 is landlocked, has no access to it as of right now. And is there a plan for them to have some access to that lot?
First, I'll introduce myself. I'm Todd Miller. I'm Road Operations Specialist, Interim Administrator for the Road Department here for Stark County. I've been with Stark County, for those that you don't know me, been with them for 44 years of service already. So I'm very familiar with the county. For this question, I'd have to refer that on to Andrew Schrank with Highlands Engineering.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, Ms. Larson. Lot 2 would be accessed from a private access easement, along with Mr. Hendrickson has property west of Lot 2. As Steve indicated, we're proposing to vacate the section line that cuts through the middle of Lot 1 and 2, as well as Mr. Hendrickson's property. There's currently a structure that sits right on that section line, so it's not open to travel today. So as part of that agreement, Michaels have agreed to, first of all, sell half an acre to Mr. Hendrickson because his structure is currently half on the Michaels property and half on his property, as well as in the middle of that section line. So to resolve that, Michaels plan to sell half an acre to Mr. Hendrickson and provide an access easement along the north side of lots 1 and 2 that would access those lots as well as Mr. Hendrickson's property. We do not plan to have any additional approaches off of Highway 10.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, any other questions? There's no other questions, then I'll look for a motion to approve or deny.
Mr. Chairman, I would move to approve, excuse me, I think I jumped ahead of here. Sorry. Move to approve RZ 0525.
Okay, have a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second. Any other discussion? Then roll call vote. Commissioner Clares,
Aye.
Commissioner Nicholas,
Aye.
Commissioner Goldsmith, Dr. Bear, Commissioner Larson,
Aye.
Commissioner White.
Aye.
Chair votes aye, motion carried. Okay, and then Steve, you said that'll be brought for when, the same time we do the section line vacation?
Chairman Franchuk, this will go forward with the final subdivision plat and the section line vacation.
Okay. If we can get notification, that's enough. I think we have there would be the August meeting then you're looking at then, or?
If the applicants cross their fingers. So, yeah,
Okay.
this just as I stated before, the section line vacation goes straight to county commission. So and there's a public hearing for that. So it doesn't go to planning and zoning. It goes, otherwise you would have heard it today, but
Okay.
it goes straight to county commission.
But for approval for this request, though, it will be held then,
Yeah, if all, this request and the subsequent, and their proposed final plat will go at the same time as the section line vacation.
okay. Okay, then we'll move on to the next item then, is a public hearing for PSP 0125 for David, Nyla, Michael, are requesting approval of preliminary subdivision plat for the Michael subdivision located in the portion of east one half of section 1, township 139 north, range 95 west, and a portion of the southeast quarter of section 36, township 140 north, range 95 west in Stark County, North Dakota, and the property is approximately 204.49 acres. Okay, Mr. Schrank.
Thank you. Again, Andrew Schrank with Highlands Engineering representing the Michaels. As stated, this is a residential subdivision that would create 29 residential lots. Two lots or two residences already exist within this property. Lot 4 of Block 4 and Lot 6 of Block 6 currently have structures. Lot 4 has a residence, and then Lot 6 is the original farmstead on the property. So we'd basically be creating 27 additional lots on the site, with the higher density being in the northern property that was just rezoned to estate residential. The owner, as we stated previously, is selling a portion of property at the northwest corner to Mr. Hendrickson to resolve that structure issue along with the section line vacation. Those two lots would gain access from that private access easement. All other lots in the subdivision will either gain access from the existing road in this property, which follows kind of that western portion of the site. They're going to create a new east to west connection kind of through Block 3 and 4 where the cul-de-sac is shown. That road, we're hoping to start here soon on the construction of that road. Otherwise, the lots would gain access from 102nd Avenue Southwest, which they're currently, I would say, roughly 75% done improving that section line road for access to the eastern lots on the subdivision. The roads in the subdivision will be maintained by an HOA that the owner is currently working on establishing. They do plan to complete all the road construction prior to recording the final plat to avoid any security or anything like that would be necessary. So these roads will be in place before the plat's recorded, so county staff can go out, inspect them, make sure they're up to par for your standards. With that, I would stand for any remaining questions you may have.
Any questions? If not, then, yes.
For Mr. Schrank, Steve Josephson, County Planner. Did you and the applicants send this over to the Gladstone Fire Department to get comments?
Yes, I did discuss this with, I forget the marshal's name there now, but I did have a phone conversation with him. I emailed him the plat. He did not have any concerns at the time I had discussed it with him.
Okay, thank you. The reason I mention that is because one day I had a gentleman from the fire board in Gladstone come in after the county commission had approved the subdivision with 10 additional lots in his district, and he said, please tell us about these things because we've got a budget for services for next year. So,
Sure.
so we ask all applicants for subdivisions to contact whichever fire district it's in to let them know this is coming.
Okay, any other questions? Not, then I'm gonna open the public hearing on this. Anybody had any comment for or against this request for preliminary subdivision plat? Anybody have any comment for or against? Anybody have any comment for or against from the public? Hearing none, I'm gonna close the public hearing then. And Mr. Joseph, your recommendations?
Yes, thank you, Chairman Franchuk. Commissioner Steve Josephson, County Planner. And as was stated, you have a request for you if it's it's a preliminary subdivision plat, a plat for approximately 204.49 acres. The preliminary subdivision plat does not go to county commission. It, your recommendation will go to the applicants, and then they will use that to, as they come up with their final plat, and that's the one that goes to the county commission. They've given a presentation, the proposed lots range in there from about 2.12 acres up to about 19.34 acres, the larger ones being in the southern portion of it. Staff did send this out to one of our consulting engineering firms for some comments. We did send those on to the applicant's representative, and I believe we copied y'all on it. There were a bunch of technical things on the site plan, but the questions they had were that they had some comments about access and the boundary to Lot 3, Block 4 needs clarification. Width and transitions of all easements should be defined. The purpose and use of all adjacent properties should be included on there. Access to as frontage to Highway 10 should be clarified and include pertinent recorded document numbers. And we just ask that during the final subdivision plat submittal that the applicant address those and any other comments. Staff recommends approval. The other thing I did want to mention too is that we ask that as part of this process, the applicant gets in touch with the county's weed officer to do an inspection, and then that report get turned in as part of the final subdivision plat application. And also to call to attention that a fair portion of this property is in the special flood hazard area, used to be known as the 100-year floodplain. That does not preclude any development on those lots. It just means that if they build there, they've got to build to the county, states, and federal standards, which is 1 foot above for residential, 1 foot above the base flood elevation. I spoke to the applicants about this, and they said the way that these lots are drawn up is that each of them has enough area outside the special flood hazard area that they could locate buildings in there and not need to go through that extra process. No, as of today, staff has received no public comments on this proposal. So staff recommends approval subject to the following conditions. That prior to final plat approval, the applicant shall address the engineering review comments attached to the staff report. Prior to final plat approval, the applicant shall provide the written results of the county weed officer's inspection of the property. If required by the county weed officer, the developer shall be responsible for implementing a weed control plan as approved by the county weed control officer. The developer shall provide a copy of the weed officer's report and required weed control plan to the Stark County zoning administrator, and also that the applicant shall be responsible for the cost of any additional engineering review and analysis required by Stark County. And I'm here to answer any questions you may have.
Any questions for Mr. Josephson? Any questions? None. I got that for the applicant, from Mr. Shrink, the access for 13, 14, 15, and Lot 3 and Block 4, how are they gonna access that? Because that section line, 102nd, that's impassable, right?
Nope, so they're actually working now on improving that section line. They're probably about 75% done with the earthwork. So they've put in new crossings, new culvert crossings, and they have graded out that road to make that much more passable. So all those lots would gain access from 102nd, and 102nd will be improved and re-gravelled before this plat gets approved.
Then lot 3 down here, how do you access that?
There is a small sliver on the south side of Lot 15 that is actually connected to Lot 3. So utilities, water, if there is southwest water, could come through there, and they could build an access road along the south side of Lot 15.
Okay. Okay. Anybody else have any questions? If not, then I'll look for a motion then to approve or deny this request.
President, move to approve the motion for PSP 1001-25 of the Michael subdivision.
Okay, I have a motion approved. I have a second.
I'll second
Have a
that,
second?
Chairman.
Okay, any other discussion? Not, then roll call vote. Dr. Bear? Commissioner Goldsmith? Commissioner Nicholas?
Aye.
Commissioner Claris?
Aye.
Commissioner Larson?
Aye.
Commissioner White?
Aye.
And the chair votes aye, motion carried. Okay. And we'll skip number 5, that's been taken off the agenda. We'll go to number 6, public hearing for ZTA 0225, proposed amendments to Article 3, general provisions, Article 5, zoning district regulations, and Article 6, and additional provisions of Stark County, North Dakota zoning ordinance regarding accessory dwelling units. Mr. Josephson.
Thank you, Chairman Franchuk, Commissioners, Steve Josephson, County Planner. This is a zoning ordinance, proposed zoning ordinance text amendment. Back in 2020, the County Commission amended the the zoning ordinance to allow what's known as a accessory dwelling unit. And that's, if you've got one house on a property, you could build a second one there as long as you met certain requirements in the code in terms of the size of the total square footage and location and so on. In many places, this is a permitted use. This was a relatively new thing here in Stark County. So at the time, the recommendation from staff was to make that a conditional use permit where they'd have to come up in front of the board, the county commission for recommendation and of approval, and then approval by the county commission. I think since that time, and after having reviewed a lot of building permits for zoning requirements, I think it would just be easier for the public who want to do this to just go straight to administrative review for a permit. I know during this time since 2020, we've had 2 applications. There's a concern, this is more anecdotal than anything else, is that telling some people they have to come in for a public hearing may be a disincentive. So, and I think given what's in here and given what's in here, this is something that can just be easily handled, at the administrative level. Now, if they wanted to get some sort of adjustment to the development standards that are in here, like an increase in maximum square footage or an increase of how far this is supposed to be located from the primary, that primary residence, they could always come in for a variance, and that would come to planning and zoning and require approval by the county commission. So this would involve, first of all, amending the agricultural residential, rural residential, and estate residential zoning districts to change this from a accessory use to a permitted use. The only other thing that I'm recommending too is that there was some language, just some clarifying language about in number 10, just saying a maximum of 1 accessory dwelling unit, and then for properties less than 40 acres, and a maximum of 2 for those who are 40 acres or more. It's just clarifying language. It doesn't really change anything. So the staff recommends approval based on the findings in the staff report and what I put on the record. Staff recommends approval, and I'm here to answer any questions you may have.
Any questions for Mr. Josephson?
I guess I'm just curious, Steve, what prompted the change back in 2020 to this?
Well, we actually had a case of where somebody wanted to build an accessory dwelling unit on a property. And, we've been in a housing crisis for a number of years. Having an accessory dwelling unit can actually work out pretty well if you've got a large enough piece of property and can put a smaller residence, on there. That can take care of things. There are some things that's not mentioned in here, but say you have people living on a piece of property and they're aging, and say they want somebody to take care of them who's right nearby, then they can build a residence on there. Somebody may want to build a residence on there for possible rent. So it's a number of things.
It wasn't a rampant problem that was.
Oh, no,
being
it wasn't a
occurred or
rampant
anything,
problem
yeah.
here, but having read through a lot of the literature that had to do with housing, with housing issues across this country, it just wasn't in here. So, but people would always say, what can I do? I want to build a smaller structure on my property because my parents want to live here or my children want to live here or whatever, and the current zoning code wouldn't allow that unless you actually went through the process of subdividing the property and possibly rezoning it. So that's what brought this up, was just an opportunity to provide additional housing on lots that are large enough to have it.
Any other questions?
Yes, just one. Does this wording prohibit like a duplex?
Yes, so this is what it would be. So an accessory dwelling unit would have to be one that's either separate, or say there's an existing house, you could build onto that house, but it would have a separate entrance and separate, metering and whatever. Or if you have a garage on the site, you could build above that garage. But no, it's not a duplex. So it's accessory. It's going to be smaller than the existing residence, the primary residence on the site. And this is done, we have not seen a lot of it here in North Dakota. I went through both city and county ordinances. It's not in those ordinances, but this is a pretty widespread practice throughout the country. So, well, it's already in our code. This is just saying you can go straight to permitting, and if you meet these requirements, you will get a building permit to do this.
Any other questions? Not, I'm going to open the public hearing then. Anybody have any comment for or against this amendments? Anybody from the public have any comment for or against this amendment? Anybody from the public have any comment for or against this amendment? Hearing none, I'll close the public hearing then. Then look for a motion from the board to either approve or deny this amendment.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I'll move that we approve public RZT 0225 public hearing, or the proposed amendments to the Article 3.
Okay.
I would second that. Mr.
Motion is second, okay. Any other discussion? If not, then roll call. Commissioner Larson,
Aye.
Commissioner Goldsmith, Commissioner, Dr. Bear, Commissioner Nicholas,
Aye.
Commissioner Claris,
Aye.
Commissioner White,
Aye.
and the chair votes aye, motion carried. Next, we have a public hearing for ZTA 0725, proposed amendment to section 1.3 of the Stark County, North Dakota zoning ordinance. Mr. Josephson?
Yes, thank you, Chairman Franchuk, Steve Josephson, County Planner. This is a cleanup item. I didn't bring this to workshop because a few weeks ago, I was thumbing through the zoning ordinance and I noticed that in section 1.3 of the zoning ordinance, where it talks about the purpose and intent, if you go to the end of it, there is a phrase in there that says that part of one of the purposes of the zoning ordinance is to implement the goals, objectives, and policies and implement strategies of the Stark County Comprehensive Plan Update 2010. Well, this past year, the county approved another update, and the proposal is, rather than keep changing the update date every time there's a new update, to just get rid of the part that says update 2010 and just say the Stark County Comprehensive Plan. So it's just a cleanup thing. So, but it requires, like any other amendment, going to P and Z for a recommendation and then county commission for final approval. Staff recommends approval, subject to, subject to the findings in the staff report. And I'm here to answer any questions you may have.
Any questions? If not, I'm gonna open the public hearing on this. Anybody have any comment for or against this amendment? Anybody have any comment for or against this amendment? Anybody have any comment for or against this amendment? Hearing none, I close the public hearing then, and I'll look for a motion to approve or deny from the board.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to approve the amendment.
Okay, I have a motion. Do I have a second? I have a second. Okay, any other discussion? Roll call vote. Commissioner White,
Aye.
Dr. Bear, Commissioner Goldsmith, Commissioner Nicholas,
Aye.
Commissioner Claris,
Aye.
Commissioner Larson.
Aye.
Chair votes aye, motion carried. And then we have a public hearing for ZTA 08225-4, is that correct?
ZTA 8-25.
Okay.
8-25.
Okay, public hearing for ZTA 08-25, proposed amendments to section 8.3, conditional use permits of the Stark County, North Dakota zoning ordinance. Mr. Josephson, want to explain that?
Yes, thank you, Chairman Franchuk, Commissioners, Steve Josephson, County Planner. This all came up when there was discussion about the possible revocation of a conditional use permit. And looking at the, it says how to do the revocation, which it currently states in here that if the Planning and Zoning Commission finds that the conditions or restrictions set forth in conditional use are not being complied with, it may revoke the conditional use permit after a public hearing. This is a cleanup. If you go back to the duties of the Planning and Zoning Commission, it states that the Planning and Zoning Commission shall hold public hearings on applications for conditional use permits and make written recommendations to the commission for the approval, denial, modification, and/or the imposition of conditions upon other applications. So this conflicts. It gives, it conflicts as to what the real power of the Planning and Zoning Commission is. There's not really an authorization in that section to allow for for the Planning and Zoning Commission to just go ahead and revoke that. I think it's implicit that that's in the hands of the county commission. So this was just some language saying that the plan, that there would be in the case of a potential revocation, that a planning and zoning, that a public hearing would be held by the Planning and Zoning Commission to consider that and make a recommendation, and the final decision for revocation would lie with the county commission. And I'm here to answer any questions you may have.
Any questions for Mr. Josephson on this amendment?
Oh, by the way, let me add this, I should have added this for the other two. I knew that, when I found out State's Attorney Engelstadt could not attend today, I did ask her to review these three proposed amendments, and she said she was fine with all of them.
Okay. Any questions for Mr. Josephson on this? If not, I'll open the public hearing. Anybody from the public have any comment for or against this proposed amendment? Anybody from the public have any comment for or against this amendment? Anybody from the public have any comment for or against this amendment? Hearing none, I'm going to close the public hearing then. Okay, I'll look for a motion to approve or deny this amendment.
Mr. Chairman, I would move that we approve ZTA 0825.
Okay, I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second. Any other discussion? Not, then roll call. Commissioner Goldsmith. Commissioner Nicholas.
Aye.
Dr. Bear, Commissioner Claris,
Aye.
Commissioner Larson,
Aye.
Commissioner White.
Aye.
The chair votes aye, motion carried. Mr. Joseph, do we have any planning items?
Yes, and I'll try to run through them very quickly. First of all, I anticipate that we're going to have a Planning and Zoning Commission meeting on July 31st. I know that Fisher Sand and Gravel contacted me about a conditional use permit for another gravel pit that would be located in, adjacent to where their existing ones are in the northeast part of the county. It's possible that the Michaels may be coming up with their final subdivision plat at that time. Earlier this week, I met with both Commissioners Larson and Claris to talk about a couple of zoning ordinance text amendments, and I think we've got some language for that we're all comfortable going forward with. So there will be some items for public hearing for next month. Another thing I wanted to mention too was we had talked about this at the Planning and Zoning Workshop about amending the zoning ordinance to address data centers. I've shared this with some of the commissioners already. Both City Planner Burchak and I met with Ryan Gillick and Senator, is it Runnell, to talk about data centers. And they told us at that time that both the North Dakota Association of Counties and the North Dakota League of Cities are working on a model ordinance. So until that model ordinance comes out, there's not really, in my opinion, professional opinion, we may as well wait to see what the model ordinance looks like. And Mr. Gillick did ask that both City Planner Burchak and I be involved in those discussions. And then the last item is that Vision West is holding a housing and planning and zoning workshop. I believe that's the 15th of July. The application form is now available. I will send the application information to all of you and to the county commissioners. It's going to be in Stanley, but I think there's also going to be a call-in option for it. And I know we had a couple commissioners who attended that, last year when it was here in Dickinson. So it may be worth your while, especially if you're new to planning and zoning, and especially since they're going to spend a fair amount of time talking about housing programs. So I will get that out to you either later today or tomorrow morning. And that's it.
Okay, is there anything else from the board? If not, I'll look for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion, to have a second?
Second.
All in favor, state aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion carried. Thank you.